Hello everyone, my presentation is going to be on public art in Vienna and what makes it political. The massive Maria Theresienplatz stands as a beacon of the greatness of the Habsburg Empire. Surrounded by two massive museums, the statue towers over the museum's quarter and reminds the viewer of the greatness of the Austrian Empire, the family at the center of it, the Habsburgs. Emperor Franz Joseph unveiled the statue in 1888. It took 15 years to finish and cost about 8 million euros. The Austrian Empire had lost land in the Austro-Prussian War and the Third Italian War of Independence. The once sprawling empire was forced to recoil in the face of rising nationalist sentiments in Europe. All across the continent, regular citizens were beginning to question the powers that ruled over them, forming their own ideas of what the future of their countries would be. By creating the statue, Franz Joseph was attempting to solidify an idea about his family to the public, presenting his ancestor and himself by extension as a subject worthy of praise and at the center of the cultural and scientific development of the Austrian Empire. The emperor sits on a large throne at the center of the statue, surrounded by figures that represent 4 virtues: justice, strength, gentleness, and wisdom. There are also statues of important figures from different facets of Austrian culture: science and art, war, administration, and politics. By placing Maria Theresa on top of these representations, the creator of the statue, and Franz Joseph by commissioning it, is making a statement that attempts to justify a monarchical reign to a population that is beginning to question it. Vienna is filled with reminders of its imperial history. Beyond the Maria Theresienplatz, many of the buildings created by nobles serve the purpose of fueling the greatness of their image to the public and to their rivals. One notable example is Hofburg Palace in the center of the 1st District. Since its creation, the building has held the government of the ruling party of Austria. Initially intended to be the seat of the Dukes of Austria, it's currently used as a residence of the Austrian president. The contemporary version of the large square in front of the palace, the Heldenplatz, or Hero Square, was commissioned in the Ringstrasse development project by Emperor Franz Joseph, meant to modernize Vienna and remove the city walls surrounding its center. Again, these additions were meant to illustrate the greatness of the Habsburg dynasty. There are 2 statues in the square, one of the Archduke Charles of Austria, general that was a major opponent of Napoleon, and the other of Prince Eugene of Savoy, a military ally of the Habsburgs. While these 2 figures are not Franz Joseph himself, they again serve a purpose in the continuation of his reign by attempting to remind the Austrian people of the former greatness of their empire. The world of an Austrian in the late 1800s is one that was defined by a loss of power, but Franz Joseph did not want to allow them to forget what his family could do historically. The art and architecture created by the Habsburgs that decorate the streets of Vienna were made with very specific purpose in mind, to solidify that ruling power of the family in the minds of the citizens that lived under their rule. By creating massive monuments to their greatness and placing themselves alongside important figures in Austrian history, the Habsburgs hoped to position themselves as a political purpose of these great accomplishments. The family tried to tie themselves to the continued existence of the Austrian Empire. When walking around the contemporary city of Vienna, the striking architecture of the Habsburgs' reign is especially pertinent. But another sight may stick out to a careful observer. A large amount of street art covers the buildings, walkways, bridges, and subway stations of Vienna. Basically, any surface that is free is tagged. Currently, the city of Vienna finds ways to fund and encourage these legal murals. An organization founded in 2004, Core Wien, was made with the purpose of preserving and promoting the creation of street art in Vienna. The mission of this group is tied to the idea that public art creates a more vibrant and communal city, calling public art a place for socio-political and cultural debate. Another organization, this one backed by the Vienna city government, the Vienna Wall Project, gives artists with select walls around the city in which they can create their art. The city does not pay for these materials or the artists, they just permit the usage of certain surfaces. The Danube Canal is lined with these allowance zones, and the walls along the water are covered in tags. Just like the art erected by the Habsburgs, street art in Vienna is extremely political in purpose and often in content. The evolution of public art, from the statues of military generals to giant murals that portray Gustav Klimt in bright red and blues, reflect the gradual democratization of Austria since the 19th century. The art commissioned by Franz Joseph was made explicitly to celebrate the Austrian Empire and the monarchical rulers that helped to build it. The city of Vienna allowing street artists to paint on public walls is in the same way signaling something to the public. Rather than portraying their might and strength on the world stage, this government is instead showing the ways in which they allow their citizens to speak their minds and participate in the creation of the contemporary city. And here are my sources. Thank you.